Now we're good. Okay. Welcome to the August 15th, 2022 zoning board of appeals meeting. We've got 4 applicants to review today, and we will take them in the order they are on the agenda. So Joan, come on back. You were not here. You were not here. Okay, Joan, it's up to you. Kelly was not here last month, did not hear any of the discussion. We'll probably reiterate most all of it.
Okay,
Do you have a problem with her voting on it? Not having been here the last meeting?
no,
Okay, all right. Then you're voting. That way you have 5 votes rather than 4. Awesome.
that's
Okay.
fine.
All right. Okay, you're looking at adding that back shed. We got some clarifications. I'm assuming you're well aware of them, that you built to the amount that you were allowed for coverage in the last variance, correct?
Correct. So the rooftop is maximum. I wanted to put on a, I hate to call it a shed because it doesn't have any sides on it. It's just a roof. And I thought I could probably, put plants and pots and stuff like that out of the, if it's sprinkling or whatever in the spring, I could use that space to have for garden puttering, I guess is the best way to put that. And so it's just a frame that would have a metal roof on it. It's not enclosed, it's just, but it is attached to the house. But the support was such that it was attached to the house. And as I said in my note to the board, I did not realize that this was considered an extension. So my contractor and I started in on this and got as far as we did, and not realizing that I was going to need a variance, because it doesn't look like a building to me. It looks like just a little roof for puttering and potting. And that's kind of what I had in mind with that. So anyhow, that's kind of the origin of why it was started and how it got started and what its purpose would be.
Okay. And the variances we see it, you're already over on max coverage minimally, and that was given to you in the last variance back in 2017. And this would increase that variance, and the other is setback from your backyard
Right.
line. Now, just for your information, the setback would not be an issue if it were detached from the house.
Okay.
It would only be coverage.
Okay.
Okay, just so we're clear on that.
Okay.
One thing I would like to enter in again is there was a letter in regards to, I won't read it again, but I will ask Kelly to read it to herself so she is aware of it. Okay. While she's doing that, does anyone have any comments, questions? I know we went over some of it, and we really wanted to clarify exactly what we were looking at.
Do you have any feelings on detaching?
I suppose I could, and put in supports and just have it, a few inches away from the building. I'm not, frankly, all that does is make sure that it meets a code. It doesn't really, if I do it, it doesn't really change very much. The other thing is, if I wanted to, I'm gonna say significantly move it away from where it is, then I would probably have to ask for even more backyard, because I see that, as a good spot for it, a place to use space that is currently just grass. The other thing I'll say is that on this aspect, this is, even though this is the side of my garage, it's the back of the lot. The photo from this side shows that my neighbor to the south, and then looking to the south, has put up a fence. And really doesn't utilize his backyard to the extent that my northerly neighbor does. And so I'm not terribly interested in what, in his opinion of what it is, because he has to come way back into his lot and look past his fence in order to see into my lot. And he put up the fence saying privacy, privacy, my privacy. And I kind of like feel, well, when you come to the very back of your lot and stand there and look over at me, how do you think that makes me feel about my privacy? But that he has done that. The neighbors on the north side, on the other hand, use their backyard and we have not put up a large fence. And so they're the ones who are more likely to see this structure than the people on the south. But as far as attachment, yeah, that would accomplish the letter of the law, but it wouldn't make that big of a difference aesthetically, I guess is what I want to say.
So in that sense, yes, or do you,
I'm sorry.
as far as being interested in detaching it, so are you therefore not, because it doesn't feel like it makes a whole big difference? Because it does solve a problem that we have. And if it doesn't make that big of a difference.
Okay, let me ask this question, because this occurred to me, and I don't know the answer to this one. I had purchased metal roofing in gray that matches the side of the house to go on, and you see in the picture it's sitting right there waiting to be put on. If I did a canvas top that would have to come off for winter, would that change the nature of what the structure is or how you guys look at it?
It's a question for you, Kyle.
I don't believe so, because we're looking at pergolas the same way as roof structures right now. And
Okay,
until that's updated in the code, I'd say it's not gonna change how we think about it. It's not the way we do it.
that sounds bad.
So,
Now, the other thing you mentioned, once it's detached, it doesn't have to be near as far from your property line. So you could feasibly put it back farther as a separate, as like a little shed or whatever, when we're talking detached, and you know, that way it's not on the house, you're not right next to it type of thing. That's up to you. Any other questions? If I want, I'll open up for public comment again. Anyone here have any comments? No, then I will close the public comment period. Yes,
So I want to just explore the numbers for a second.
yes,
Okay, so currently that's what it still looks like. The roof is not on it at this point, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So with it right now, what are again the exact dimensions of this structure right here?
This structure is 7 feet out, and this is the roof part, not where the posts are. but it comes 7 feet out from the side of the house. And it's 8 feet, 8 inches wide from side to side.
And by
So
that, by those dimensions, it puts her over by,
60.66 feet.
which was
The
the
roof
point, is
area-
that the 0.2 or the 0.8?
60.62 feet, but yes. That's,
Yes. 60 square feet, 60.62. The 8 or the 0.8% or the
yes,
0.2?
0.8.
Okay,
So we go by the roof.
so. If she were to change the dimensions and make it smaller. What would put her within the realm of, or is that
No,
No,
she's already over.
Nothing.
She's already over.
already, over?
It's already over
From the 2017.
That was the 25.2?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
15.12
Okay.
square feet is what she's over.
okay. So I guess my question to you would be, would you entertain the idea of making this smaller? I guess I'll just leave it at that without asking too much.
Okay, I would probably choose to detach rather than go smaller, because, having it, 7 feet this way, and 8 feet this way, is if, to reduce it very much in size, you're gonna get rained on if you're out there when it's raining.
Right.
That there's a, what do I want to say, functional size element that I would, if the board said to me, okay, you got a choice, you can either shrink it down or you can detach it. My vote would probably be detach. Because I think if I shrink it down, it won't be as functional as I'd like it to be.
I appreciate your what you would like to use it for. I personally am very into gardening and very into potting and all of that stuff. I have my own little potting area at my house. I feel this is a large roof for that task. I don't know how anybody else feels about if there's any wiggle room with a smaller size, but I do feel like that's a pretty sizable roof when you were already over before you started. That's the issue.
And I guess because I didn't see this as indoor space or living space, or, I mean, it's meant to be usable space, but you know what I mean?
I
It's
do.
not, yeah,
Yeah,
that it didn't occur to me that this would be counted as an overage.
did you want to do this?
Just, I think we did. Just going through to verify that. All right, we did approve the seeker last time.
Is just not attached. Add more, 2 more 4x4s. So that is that's a, what do you call it?
An option.
That's an option. If you literally detach it from your house, but leave it there. And instead of having it be held by the attachment to the house, and instead add 2 more 4x4s. You literally can keep it there, like that's allowable,
Okay,
is that? Oh, I thought you were.
That's all I was thinking too, rather than moving the whole
Yeah.
thing
Well-
away. I don't. That's a lot of work, you know what I mean? But like, if you could just,
detach it and put, yeah.
Well, we do this in 2 parts. Okay. First motion in regards to setback. And second motion in regards to coverage.
Okay.
Because then if one of them doesn't. If coverage doesn't fly, then it's a done deal. If setback doesn't fly, but coverage does. She has the option. As a result of this, to do something detached. And we've given her her parameters.
Okay.
Is that okay, Kyle?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Okay. So we did the seeker last time, so that was all approved. So I don't see the need to do that, but. Let's do coverage first, because again, if that doesn't apply, there's no reason to even bother with the setback. So call it an A and a B.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve appeal number 2326 at 29 Fulton Avenue regarding coverage for the 7 by 8 or 8-inch
Shed roof.
shed roof. Is that okay? Or do I need to-
Or-
With,
We'll just say if you want to just call it a shed, whether it's attached or not, right now. We're just violating
Yeah,
coverage.
just in terms of coverage, we're a 7 by 8 foot and 8-inch shed.
I'll second
Okay. Post 2326A.
it. I'm sorry.
Okay. So on coverage, you have 4 yeses, 1 no vote. Which means that you can at least do something. All right,
All right,
now I'll entertain a motion for setback.
So the setback has to include that it's attached on.
Well, the fact that it's a variance means it's attached. If it's detached, it's not. She doesn't need that variance.
Okay.
She can put it a number of places that are a lot closer to the lot line
Mhm.
than what anything attached to the house is. I don't know what's the setback, 5 feet from property line.
Yep.
So
In the rear yard.
in the rear.
Yep.
What about side yard?
Yes, it just has to be behind the building as long as.
Okay,
It's 5 from side and 5 from.
so that 5-foot perimeter all the way around, she can't get into that, be anywhere in that backyard.
Okay, so then I will make another motion to approve appeal number 2326, we'll call it B. You want to say to aggravate the backyard setback by 7 feet, is that okay?
Just so I'm clear, we are voting to allow her.
A yes vote is to allow her to violate,
Within
Maintain. what she-
to maintain what she has there,
about 20.5 feet in the rear yard.
or an additional 7 foot.
Yes.
I'll second.
Again, by PJ. Okay, you have 2 yes votes and 3 no votes. So if you're going to build it, it has to be detached,
Got it.
okay?
Okay. Understood. Thank you very much.
That's it. Thank you for participating.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
twice.
Okay, Brian, Sarah Trumbull. Kennedy Ave. Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Doing good. We don't like doing those. They're tough. But, okay, you are looking at getting rid of that hedge.
Not necessarily getting rid of the hedge, we're really just looking for what we thought was our backyard, but we found out we had 2 front yards when we bought a corner lot, I guess.
Yes,
So we want to put a pool, well, since we have a pool in our backyard, we want to put fence. So like the sidewalk is all new, as you guys know, which is nice, there's not as much trash in front of my house now. But the sidewalk caused us to trim back some of the trees, and every time we trim the trees, like we got less and less privacy. And now that the sidewalk is there, and we kind of took out a little bit of the hedge in our backyard. On the outside of our chain link fence, just because it was nasty, just overgrown vines. We've only been there 18 months, so we're trying to clean it up. And then we actually have the fence spot and laying in our garage, because we didn't realize that we need variance to have a 6-foot fence to finish off just the privacy of our backyard. And there's a lot of foot traffic now that there's a sidewalk. I guess that it might have been there before, but we really didn't notice it until we trimmed the hedges and saw the sidewalk.
Well, the hedges were not very good shape.
So those things are
And
bad.
then yeah, the apartments, so we have whoever's there before us put a 6-foot fence because they took all those trees. Yeah, Jim. Next door. So they put a 6-foot fence, but they could only, I guess, apply for.
I think they only went as far as they could because it's our backyard, but the front.
Joe came and looked at it. He said, "Feet here."
Well,
We have it in ground pool back.
It's 20 feet.
Well, it has-
It's R2.
okay, it's 20 feet,
Yeah, 20.
not 25.
Oh, or something.
Yeah.
We're gonna aim to where now there's a. And then the rest of those cedar hedges. won't come in.
We don't know about those yet, but they're
Well,
really ugly. We're
when we
working.
first bought it. Okay. And everybody was having trouble exiting Kennedy Avenue to get on the roof. I mean.
Yeah, we probably.
Fire squealing, brake slamming. Tow truck, I mean, the tow truck drivers running.
He stopped and knocked on our door because he knew the show was owners. So he asked us, like, he wanted to trim the whole hedge for
He
us.
said.
Because the city owned this whole hedge. Whoa, that was pregnancy.
"Nobody can see."
Yeah, so we did strip the branches off the side towards the road, which a lot of people have commented that they can actually see when they're pulling out now, which is nice. They would have had to been cut in because they were dead.
You couldn't see.
They were way
It's dangerous.
out on the road.
We were saying in our pre-meeting. It's familiar with this corner
Oh,
at one
gosh.
point or another.
Yeah, the squealing has cut down a lot since we cut the branches off the front of the tree. You used to hear a lot of walk up right there. Yeah. So it's really just the back, it's really like what, 40 feet between us and the apartment buildings? Which is, I mean, we have 2 dogs and our dogs just continuously stand at the chain link fence and bark when the neighbors come home. And then as many people that walk their dog, our dogs are continually running for the chain link fence. One of our neighbors even knows our dog's names now and stops and I'm like, this is not cool, this is our backyard. Like, my kids are swimming right here, you can see right in, so it's really, it's one of them, but finish it off back then. I think 40 feet along the back line, maybe like 30 or 40 feet.
We have to property, screen.
And we don't even want to do the front section yet, like, we just want to come to the back corner of our house where the little white wooden fence is, that's all the further we want to come off.
With the 6 one. And then next year. I'll come see you.
Yeah, if you see the little. We'll see you again for the primary.
Our plan is to pull. Stop it, rate it,
But it's expensive right now, so, one thing.
we just want to get that one. Part to. We got the PHA softball, girls softball.
The whole time, play at our house and it's not cool, like everybody's walking by and like 20 girls in the back. It'd be nice to have a event.
How far up are you from the fence?
Just, can you see like the white picket fence, but it's on the back corner of our house? In that picture? Yeah, right, yeah, right there,
Where it stands is, that fence.
we're only coming from there,
Metal
towards the apartment.
chain link, then this is a white. It's gonna be wood. Yeah. I should have.
Actually, the front of the house right there, might give you a picture of it, how far, I mean, it's not coming anywhere near the front.
It's not coming.
It's not going anywhere near this.
Where the dotted line is, right?
Kennedy.
So where the dotted line is on plans?
Yes.
You also have the overhead of the,
Yeah, like the overhead aerial.
Yeah, that's the.
Okay. Yeah.
Upside down, this one, over here.
We have this line. We have that.
It's not gonna get there.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Oh, it's not going all the way.
Yeah.
So it's no issue at all. There's no issue at all. with the feet then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
so it's just.
All the way around.
So it's not anywhere near the, so it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It's like, yeah. Yeah, I think it's just.
Okay.
So the details, the details are just, I think so.
okay,
Yeah, I thought so too.
that's significantly different than what we were talking about. So we'll come up with 30 foot triangle at all, and then of course. And even on that back corner. That driveway. They're looking in the direction that they're concerned about traffic right on that side. Meaning you're looking up and the traffic's coming from the other side of the road. Yes. Christine's kind of thinking this one.
Are you talking about the
The back,
apartments?
the back corner by the driveway. Where
The apartments on Ruger?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
underneath the power line.
And
Gotcha.
that affects that driveway. They're not looking at the lane that is right next to them. They're looking for the other lane.
Right,
So it's less of an issue.
gotcha.
Fence is gonna be much narrower than most Massachusetts. So, yeah, you can see past the fence, it's not bigger.
That'll all be.
So just to be clear, now I have a new picture of the fence. So you're gonna take on all the hedges where the new fence is gonna go. And then the rest of these hedges will remain at this time.
Until possibly next year, we'll come see you again, because I think we want to do a different fence in the front, but that's for another. meeting.
Okay.
A small one. It's just- We sit on our back patio and I think some people just watch all of us.
Mhm.
So like, I like fence. Yeah.
Okay, just for future. 4 foot is allowed.
Yes.
But only 30, what's the 3 foot, or the 30-foot triangle?
30, but it's 30 inches and then 30.
Okay. So
Yeah.
on that corner, there's that 30-foot triangle, or,
Mhm.
or you just do a diagonal across that front corner and do the same thing type of thing.
We just want to bring it down.
Just for your next experience.
For our next meeting.
Well, we gotta get through this.
We'll see you next year.
Okay, So that takes on significantly different. And that is shown by the dotted line on Freedom Fest. Okay. All right, anybody have any other questions? No, I'll open up to the public. Anyone have comments from the public? Any? Close the public hearing. We have a seeker here. Yeah, number 2 is yes. ZBA and building permit. If somebody has any other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that for appeal 2328, Brian and Sarah Trumbull. With regards to the short assessment form, environmental form. We find that everything is in order and that the zoning chair can check in part 2, boxes 1 through 11. That there is little or no environmental.
In part 3.
And check the boxes and sign part 3.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Anybody want to go ahead a motion?
I'll motion to approve appeal number 2328 for Class B area variance request to install 6-foot high privacy fence into the front yard setback on this corner lot at 250 Avenue. To the, I'll just say to the diagram provided by Freedom Fence.
I'll second.
All right, you got 5 yes votes. Get your building permit. Yeah, just go in and see. And you're good to go.
Excellent, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
And when you decide to do,
Phase 2.
when you decide to come farther forward, just keep an eye on that 30-foot triangle. Here's the top
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah,
Well, we go any further, you're not gonna be able to see around it.
So,
it's just good to use.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
okay, Margaret Thorson, 5 Grace Ave.
All right.
Okay,
So I should just disclose that we know each other. We're not besties, but our kids did go to school and I just want to like be completely transparent that we are familiar with one another.
okay.
I do feel that I can be
Can you
impartial.
check it?
I can.
Okay. We'll let you go this time.
All right.
All right. You want to build a porch that's already built?
Well, I had an existing concrete porch, steps that were there that were constantly kind of breaking away, repairing. Also, doing no railings is slippery, so I wanted to actually make it safer. So this is not attached to the house, it's built right over the existing concrete, it didn't really add any height to it. What was changed besides the addition of the railings, was the extension that follows that house line to increase the size, width-wise, coming out. Part of that was because that mailbox right there, I asked to deliver, if you put a railing on the existing with, it would have been kind of tricky, I think. So it was widened, in that case, the railing to put on. I don't believe that the railings were necessary in terms of height of the rims because it's better over there. So that was just a safety concern. And also the place the steps previously were not to code. They were, they weren't sufficient heights and they were too high. So what it's required. So that brought that bottom step up a little bit because.
But you did this without a building permit?
I didn't, yeah, I did. Yeah, this is all backwards because I didn't realize I needed a permit because it was already existing. And then I found out when I got a knock on the door that I looked for a permit. And so now it's working backwards. I realized that, but yes, that is what it looks like right now. Existing form, because I said I didn't check this out, realizing that process. Again, it wasn't attached, and I was thinking more like checking the height of the railings and all of that. I didn't consider that. It's going, I guess it's set back.
Yeah, it's a significant issue. And that I think the front of the house is already in the setback, correct?
It appears that the very the entryway is about 5 by 7 into the front yard setback, about, I think.
The front platform is 5 by 7.
No.
No,
The
Where the
little
door
the
that
entryway
triangle.
is
Oh, okay.
sticking
The
out.
green.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
On the existing house, the
Yes.
buildings.
Yeah.
At the time it was built in 1932, was this ordinance in existence or?
no,
Okay, so it wouldn't.
So Maggie, were the steps removed before you put those steps on? So the steps are existing and this is out closer to the road.
The bottom step extends past the existing.
Okay.
Just that last bottom step or,
The bottom, because there were 3 steps previously,
okay,
there were 3 risers, the last riser being the actual platform. So that was what brought it. But I would say the existing students was also not in compliance, but it was part of the original.
yeah. So everything that was built is only covering where those concrete steps, I assume they're concrete, were.
Coming out towards the street, or toward the sidewalk. The last step is out further, but the addition was on these sides. So
Okay, so you went
previously
out a little.
out of the width, so it follows the line of that piece, that foyer that comes out.
Yep.
It's now as close to that, whereas originally the concrete, can't see it on here, but extended just past the door frame. The original.
So what is the size of the platform?
So everything's what the last step, the bottom step.
Yes.
So it's 5 feet coming out from the house. And it is, 130 inches across. Which is.
10 by 10.
10.
10 foot 10.
Yeah, no, that's.
And the steps, remember, if they're less than a foot, aren't not being counted as a projection of the front yard anymore.
They're less than 1 foot, they're not being counted.
Right. They're
And
less
are
than 12
these-
inches.
Was that by executive order?
That's our determination.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm fine with that. It's just.
Yes.
curious.
Yeah, no, that's,
Maybe you're doing executive orders now.
we've, this has been tossed around a little bit and there's language in there to believe that the projections, as long as they're less than a foot wide, aren't considered a projection. The steps aren't considered a projection.
Are these less than foot?
And these are not.
They look like they're 11-inch treads. Probably the 1-inch nose, and so it looks like they're gonna be hot. Is that some,
Yeah, that was the impression I got when I met with, when I came here, is that it's the count the platform. only.
Okay.
That's what we did with,
Is the platform larger than the previous platform? I mean, to the street.
Yes, okay.
no, the platform isn't bigger than the stairs and toward the street, they're wider.
Right,
Yeah,
But not-
the platform's
okay.
wider.
but not in the front yard setback.
Yes, they are.
But not any more than they were.
So do you know how much
Except it's wider.
further
Right.
this, how much further the new platform is from the old platform underneath? How much?
Towards the sidewalk,
Yes.
the existing, except for like the bottom step, which we're not counting, went out that far, so I don't, the issue from the house, I don't think it's changed.
Kyle said
very
it's not.
much.
He said it's only
okay.
wider. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
closer.
just wider.
I think yes, yeah.
Well, now. Is it not deeper compared to the stoop plus the steps, including the steps?
That's a good point. I don't know what it looked like before. But she said that the last stoop or the last stair is beyond. I couldn't tell you that. I don't know what was there before.
Because I'm assuming there's stringers under those
Yeah.
steps. Yeah. Yeah. Which would play another. Stringers,
I think, yeah.
that's what the steps go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's called
the extra that
stringer.
they
God,
had,
I just didn't know how to move.
Yes, yes.
which is.
And they actually label it right on 2x12 string.
I saw that, but I just didn't know that was what they're called.
The existing.
When they're tagged, they're called stringers.
Existing, but not
Okay.
On the stairs.
I mean,
Maybe
Right.
that would be a
Right.
trivia question, one of these days.
Any other questions, comments? I'd like to open up to the public. Anybody in the public got any comments? No? Okay. Any other comments? Zach. All right, we have a short environmental assessment form. Number 2 also needs building permit, which you do not have, correct?
I paid for the permit, but I think it superseded
Yeah.
that. cost.
Yeah. Why did it go before the county?
Assuming probably. Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Route 3.
Oh, Cornelius Street's a state road. Okay. All right. There's no other comments. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve the short environmental assessment form for appeal 2329. Stating that there is little or no environmental impact and that the chair checked. Questions 1 through 11 stating that there is little or small environmental impact.
Something.
And
Oops.
Part three.
Oh, and sign.
Well, in part three, I need to check something else.
Oops. Let me see.
You guys read my emails?
Yeah,
That's what he said, right?
then I say part three, checks boxes 1 through 11.
1 through 11 is part two. 1 through 11 is
Oh.
part two.
There we go. Okay. And check part three that there's little or no significant impact.
Now,
Okay.
Sign.
All right,
Thank you.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, I will entertain a motion. What is built or what you will allow her to modify it to or whatever. Since we were discussing. But I'll entertain a motion.
do we need to have more discussion?
Not me.
Everyone's good? No.
Then I will make a motion to approve appeal number 2329 of 537 for a Class B area variance to construct a porch into the front yard setback. To, I don't know, to the scale that it was. Already built, is that okay?
For the plan.
I'll second. Do you use the wrought iron rods for your railing? They're-
Okay, we got 4 yes votes and 1 no vote. Okay, somebody's starting to push back, but so you're good, just need to finalize with the building inspector.
So that's the next step, which is.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
Oh.
Um,
Do you want us to be given more reasons than we were given with Ron as to why we, when it's different reasons? the different
I
codes?
can, and actually, yeah, we'll finish up and I think we can talk while we're still on the record about that vote. Okay. So she's already gone, she really doesn't. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. Pear Bouzy.
Yes.
Come on up.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, evening. So you're looking to build on that. One of the few blank slates in the city,
Yes,
okay? Did you buy just that lot?
yes,
Okay. Did you buy it from the estate with the 2 lots or just the one?
no, just the one.
Just the one, okay. All right. So tell me what you got going.
So before I bought it, I didn't know that it was a two-bedroom. So. Yeah, my cross the street neighbor has approximately the same amount. So I approached him to see his plans. And then I submitted my plan to the architect. And he did exactly the same thing that the neighbor has.
There's a house just like this across the street.
Yes,
No, no.
Okay. And your architect didn't indicate there's any issues with setbacks?
Yeah, investment. I mean,
Okay,
that's what I put in the plan.
all right.
Managing the first street is one floor and mine is 2 floors.
Okay. Have you considered changing your plan to meet the
It'll
zoning
be
requirements?
very small, I don't know,
What's that?
the house will be very small.
Well, you don't have coverage issues, correct? We don't have coverage. Are we anywhere near it?
I don't believe so. Right, I mean, those numbers.
It's the house directly across the street, you said?
Yes, only the one person street is one floor and mine is.
Okay.
I copied the. Property.
All right. Any comments, questions from the board before I go back to the public? Okay. All right, I will open this up to the public. I'm assuming there's somebody who wants to speak. Who will speak first?
My name is Bill Taylor, that's my daughter, and just a video, there's on the other side, it's proposed house.
Can you speak a little louder? Okay, can you speak a little louder, please?
This is my daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is Mrs. Carrillo, who lives on the other side of this building, is proposed.
In
Okay.
the tan one over here?
Oh, that's the one.
Okay.
This is Diane, and I live in that house over there. And, this lot had been for sale for a long time, and a number of people looked at it, including builders. And when they saw the dimensions of this lot, they would not touch it. Because it was too small. And, the other issues that, came up, with that, of course, are environmental. So, that's something we'll get into. And I'm sorry, I didn't mention her name. This is Joe Petty. And I've been living in this area approximately 40 years now. Mrs. Carrillo, about 3 years. And this, when she bought this lot, that land was available to do with whatever they want to do with it. At one point, the city came in, and they were gonna make a playground out of it, because it's so small. And it was envisioned that only a small house could be built on it. So when we found out that the dimensions of this house being proposed for here, and my understanding that was that it's going to be a 2-story house. I mean, it's true enough. That's what I heard. Yeah. I was shocked. And in fact, the person from whom he got the blueprints from, his house is a 1-story house. And he did not need any variances. Completely like apples and oranges. Once we heard what was going to be happening here, I got concerned because this area that we live in, environmentally, we have a lot of water problems that are happening with that, and we've had to have a fair amount of work done for our house to waterproof ourselves and to try and drain some water away. One street over. There's even more water, but they have lots that are not building. So we had to set up a system so that we could drain the water off our property. And now, when we found out that another house was coming in, my feeling was, we're gonna have a backlog of water coming back into our foundation. And impact our foundation, it's really worried. And the other thing is, a lot of snow comes in between that fence and our house, and I have to either shovel that or blow it away. And I really am not gonna have a place to put it either. And I'm nearing 80 years old now. The US Army veteran, who worked in this area for many, many years, also received the medical center and the psychologist attachment. And felt that we were going to have a reasonably good life if we are stress-free. And hopefully live here until we die. And then something like this came up. And then we looked at the dimensions, and we actually did the tape measure on that. And it's incredible. This building is going to be incredibly close to our house. And it's hardly any breathing. And we found out the variance was for even more conversion onto our closest to our property. We're quite upset about that. And the other thing that's happening right now is I'm seeing some building going on. So I don't know, that's all. This is shed. And that building is approximately 4 feet from that next. So.
So my name's Christina, I'm Joe's daughter, obviously. So we feel a little bit differently about how the petitioner has presented some of the facts. There are several health, safety, and environmental issues when issuing a variance of this nature. So first, safety, the setback rules are in place among many things to ensure safety of residents. By permitting a variance of this size, you will be decreasing the safety of the abutting elderly and disabled neighbors on both sides of the property, as fire is likely to spread house to house when houses are packed very closely together. The second is environmental. So this neighborhood, as my father mentioned, has substantial issues with water. By adding a house this size with a large overhang and substantial foundation, the water is more likely to flood neighboring basins and weaken foundations. A house of this size requires killing several mature trees along the property line that help absorb runoff and groundwater. And it will create issues for both others. The house of this magnitude will also make snow removal efforts much more difficult and labor intensive for elderly parents. And snow roofs will be created off of a 2-story roof. And then finally, welfare. A house of this size on its tiny lot will impact the welfare of the abutting neighbors. A 49-foot 2-story house in a neighborhood of small single-story homes is going to block the sun. It's going to cast large shadows on their property, and it's going to obscure their sunsets. This will diminish the health of the abutting neighbors. And in closing, the size of this lot has not changed in the petition of purpose. It is 65 feet of frontage. That's roughly the size of a semi-truck and a trailer. It's incredibly tiny. The petitioner is asking for a variance of 20%, which is substantial. A variance of this size has permanent negative impacts on the abutting elderly and disabled neighbors. My parents worked really hard to build a peaceful home for retirement where they could age in place. Their dream is now threatened by this variance. I implore you to vote against this variance for the health and safety of neighbors and to encourage a house of reasonable size for the lot.
Thank you. Anyone else?
It's, you know, I love the area. I lived here a long time and, I don't think moving anywhere else. I just want to have a neighbor that I can get along with and have a reasonable, relationship with. And this was like a both of those stuff.
And it's not that we don't, I mean, we always knew that there was a chance for a house, but to have it 2 feet closer to our property. It's it's really, it makes a difference.
And that's all it is, like, for us.
How far is your house from that?
Our house, there's the fence there. So. So it's 18 feet and I assume that's just.
The overhangs are allowed.
So it's just.
It is just the building, they're allowed a certain amount of overhangs.
But I understand the 2 birch trees, but I mean, the building is right. It's 7 feet from the fence.
Okay.
And we're learning that if something does happen, like a fire, and stuff like that, it's really in danger. And this is illegal. So, also has some, she is a little shy about talking to people, but she has some concerns also for herself, being a university there. Having that, 2-story basement and have, you know, be taken away.
So that she was explaining the angle of which she was facing actually need to go up a lot larger and I do agree. She was explaining that her property line ends where that little black indicator is. It's really a tiny piece of property. It's just right. What do you know, John 3E, so that's where his property starts.
It's like you want to place on Prospect Ave. The old Gordon house. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And a lot that this gentleman bought was part of that. Part of that parcel, but it was owned by the same person.
Right, for the building on.
Yeah.
The real dark.
Yeah. Okay. And when both of you bought, you knew that that lot could be built.
That lot was part of Gordon's house at that time.
Well, it was not, it was never part of it. It was just owned by the same person.
Oh,
Because otherwise they couldn't have subdivided it. Because it wouldn't be a valid lot in today's environment. So he owned both lots, but never combined them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise that lot wouldn't, they couldn't come and say, I want to subdivide it. Let's sell this as a separate. Somebody tried doing that over on corner Prospect business and was talking to the didn't fly. Is that you? Oh,
Mentioned that the gentleman that gave me the plan
Yep.
did have a backless building house.
He
That's what it did, yes, because that's what we're talking about.
You said part of the hospital.
I just-
Well, a singular or 2-story doesn't really apply here. Because he is allowed to build a 4-story house. But variance against the line is an issue here. And if he's variance, then his lot is maybe a different size, or the setbacks are different, or something. And I can't answer that without investigating with them. Yes, sir.
You can continue doing the side yard discussion,
Yep.
but if he wants to, he is over coverage. It's 25% in R1. So it was on our little miss on my part. So he's over coverage already with this one, so it's,
So we really can't.
you can continue the side yard setback
Yeah.
thing. But as far as he'd have to come back for a coverage
Okay.
at some point.
Could you explain that, please? What do you mean by coverage?
Coverage is anything. Actually, he's got the shed going too, right? Anything that has a roof. Can only be 25% of the lot. And by looking at the plan, it's not scaled out, so it's hard for us to get exact numbers, but it looks like he's probably about 33% already. Just eyeballing what's there. So, like I said, you can continue having discussions about side yard setback. Because that's what was advertised, but this plan as it is not gonna pass. Or isn't,
Even if we approve the side yard, it still can't be built. because
It's
we
gotta-
have to have a variance for
then
it.
you have to come back and ask for the variance, yes. And I take,
And that doesn't
I take the
include the
responsibility for missing that one. What's that?
And that does not include the shed.
No.
And just to say it out loud, that's also, we were talking at the pre-meeting about how when the lot is smaller than the 75 feet.
Yeah.
That, it's reduced, that,
That's only the side yards. That's not coverage or open space.
Oh,
It's
it's
only,
not.
only side yards.
okay.
Because the coverage is a percentage. So,
Yeah.
Okay, you're already there.
Is, do you know, is Four Mason right across the street? Is it the same width of the lot that he has? And Six Mason for that matter, they both seem pretty small.
They're both the same.
it's not the other stuff we really don't want to get into.
No, I'm just,
No, I know. I know.
Yeah, Four Mason is 65 by 132, so it's the same width.
And he didn't get a variance, he didn't need it, he built a small 10 feet. He got a variance for that.
Well, if it's 10 feet from each line, it didn't need a variance anyway. But that's probably how long ago was that?
Just had my 30 years, I think.
If it was short, they would have needed one, but I don't know that for a fact, obviously.
Either way.
Mhm.
So you want to pursue this and see where it goes?
because over coverage anyway. Do we still have to vote on?
Well, the question is, here's the scenario. We can table it on our behalf and give them up to 60 days, 2 weeks to come back with the full thing. But if we turn around and say no to the setbacks, why didn't we do it now? Type of thing.
No, yeah, you know
I
that.
mean,
And also, if you approve this, he could take the approval and only for the setbacks and make a plan that will fit that, if the side yard setbacks. That's just,
and
or not.
and meet the coverage
Right,
requirement.
right, change the plan.
So I would say let's pursue it.
Okay, we'll vote on setbacks and then.
Yeah. And then if it gets approved, then he at least has some parameters he can work with. If he wants to do it for this plan, he would have to come back for coverage.
And if we say no,
It's a done deal.
but does he? How significant is this next one?
Right.
That's my.
How significant this is like,
Like, so we say no, he can't come back for X amount of time.
He can't come back for just the setbacks. He can't come back for just the setbacks. He can come back for coverage,
Okay,
but he can't come back for the setbacks.
Okay.
And don't
And
forget
it
that,
would be a significantly different plan because it would be a different form. As if you did the setbacks.
and don't forget also the minimum is 8 foot 8 inches and 13, not the 10 and 15, just as a reminder. That's the minimum.
8
8 foot 8 and 13 for a total of 21. 8.
Instead of,
That's the needed deficiency. That's what he's allowed to go to instead of 25. He's proposing 8, 16 total. Which means he's 5 foot 8 short on the total. Total side yard setback.
So after our conversation and listening to public opinion, I think we would all agree that this is an unusual parcel to try to build on. You definitely have some obstacles that other parcels wouldn't. But your setback issue is relatively extreme. And if we were to vote that you would not be allowed to work with this plan, you would have to change it substantially if you come back to us. So I guess my question is, would you entertain the idea of going back to the drawing board with your architect and having a conversation that would pare this down a little bit and get you a little bit further away from those?
What's further? I mean, I don't want any problems, so. You tell me what's further than we'll lower the size. You know,
Okay.
that's, I mean, I'm not happy if we have problems, but.
Well, let me first.
Because if I knew this, I would have bought the lot. Now that I bought it. And I want to build something, so I'm sure I'm gonna stay within the limit. So, like I said, I want the homeowner across the street, he's the one that gave me his plan, and I submit that to the architect. He is himself told me that he needed the variance, maybe the law has changed or whatever. But I think, you know, to me, I think it's doable. I'm in the architect field too, so. I did the architect, I did estimating, I don't know what it is building. I did surveying, engineering, so. There's not something I want to build and then. Come down.
Okay, before we go any further, any more comments from the public?
I have a question, then you continue to build the shed.
That's up to the building inspector.
Yeah, I don't see any issue with that at all. As long as there's a plan to build, and clearly there is a plan.
Even if it's that close to the fence.
He can be 5 feet from property with a shed.
Accessory structures are different than the residence itself.
The variance that John got in the lot across the street is when they poured his foundation, it was 6 inches closer than it should have been to the property line in the back. And that's the variance that he got. He had to come and get a variance because it was already poured, so he had to come before the board and get a variance for that. But it was a lane issue, it wasn't the width issue.
Okay. All right, I think I want to close unless somebody else close the public hearing portion. Okay. I think we should go through the motions and see where we end up.
And again, if he was denied it, he can still come back for anything else other than the side yard, unless it's significantly different. So that's the only thing that, if it's denied, that's the only thing that he can't come back for. That's just the side yards.
Now, you're gonna charge me twice?
Well, it wouldn't make sense to come back for an overage issue if he has the same plans, if the cover or if the site
Of course, that means he'd have to
change.
change the plans.
Yeah.
Yep. Building permit.
This one seems hard.
Yeah. I wouldn't wanna do it.
This is just for the.
The speaker. Okay, I'll propose a motion on appeal 2330. That the chairman review the seeker. And indicate. On
Yeah.
questions 1 through 11. I have a question though, is question number 2, it's not a change in use, because it's still,
No, no. the
Zoned
question number
residentially.
2, Part 1. Is, does the proposed action require a permit?
okay,
For funding, and they never put in building permit. Which is required,
okay, gotcha.
so that's a change.
Okay.
It's not on part 2, it's. part
Okay, we're in
one.
part 2, okay. So then I suggest to the chairman that he mark no or small impact may occur on questions 1 through 11.
And part 3.
And sign. In part 3. That you've determined based on the information above and supporting documentation will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now for a motion. And it can be a positive or a negative motion. Either way, we can vote on it either way.
I'll make a motion to deny appeal number 2330, at 1 Mason Drive. For a property area variance to request to build a home into the confined yard setbacks as shown in the plans.
So a yes vote is to deny. Oh, yeah, we need a second,
I'll second.
second by Christine. Okay. That is 5 yes votes to deny your application for that appeal. Basically, I won't speak for everyone, I'll speak for myself, and anyone else wants to chime in. A vacant lot is a blank slate. And there's nothing unique about this other than being a little bit narrower, but there are narrow lots all throughout the city. And should be able to come up with a plan that can meet those requirements. Is our feeling, it is my feeling. Did anyone else?
I agree.
How,
So I do agree with Scott that there are a lot of narrow properties around the city where you can work within your parameters. You may end up with something. I just think you need to come a little small, a little bit smaller. You may end up, yeah,
Maximum and then
right.
you have to come back again, just for what.
If you have, if your plan still ends up with a variance, yes, you would have to come back.
If it fits within the parameters. We just have to build it.
Do you understand?
Work with,
Yeah, you can come see me and we can, I can tell you how much you can have covered, I can tell you
Right,
open space, I can tell you all that stuff.
is it too late tonight?
What's that?
Is it too late tonight? I have to come back.
I guess I could probably run some quick numbers tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
Going down, it's okay. No, apology. I understand.
Thank you.
Just wait.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
okay. Let's do minutes first. Everyone read the minutes.
Yes.
I'll take the motion.
We're all set, we're just doing minutes from last.
Yeah. Nothing's gonna change in regards to that application. That you're that appeal. That you just saw, so you can go.
Oh.
You don't have to stay. Thank you.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for our July 18th, 2022 meeting of the zoning board of appeals as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Lastly, one where I said no. Yeah, yeah. My feeling on that is there was already a porch that's enclosed. And that's where I had a problem with it. Because the house was set back, they had that whole portion that is set out. And because of that, I felt it should have stayed pretty much the size of the stoop that was there. And it just keeps encroaching. And we've had a lot of encroachment on front yard setback with porches. And I think we need to take a good hard look at it possibly getting out of control. That's my personal feeling.
Is it not, or we need to take a look at, whether or not the zoning needs to be amended, like, are things changing, are roads widening, are more sidewalks coming in?
No, I don't think it's, I think it's more people are doing it before the fact. And it's
That-
puts it in a bad
yes.
position.
So I was talking to Christine about it on the way up, and I feel like there should be some sort of an article in the newspaper that says zoning board cracking down on, you know, pre-work before, you know what I mean? So that people know,
Newspaper?
you better check.
Or like outreach,
It's that-
like awareness that you need to do this.
Maybe
Maybe we could put it on Facebook,
that's built one.
right?
But yeah.
Well, and I think the city should take a look at that. And maybe even doing fines.
Yeah,
It's something in your MLD bill
because it makes us
or something.
in the hot seat, and if we're not, if we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna give it and let it go because they made it, then we're ineffective. What is the point of having this?
Yeah,
Well, you have the ultimate hammer. I know it puts you in a position, but even if we do give them a fine, they're still gonna come here. You know, it's,
well, and true. But some of the people and contractors that just say, oh, you don't need a permit, may start thinking twice when their customer all of a sudden gets hit with a $200 fine
Right.
because the contractor didn't go and get a permit.
Well, it's also different though, again, for contractors, just like we were saying earlier, like builders, developers, anybody who does this stuff for a living, who makes profit off of these things, should know the rules to follow the rules. For people that don't understand that, you know, the pergola being attached versus detached makes a huge difference. And I understand where people are coming from in that aspect. And
Yeah.
and same thing with, yeah, my front porch steps were crumbling, so I built something that I felt looked nicer and safer. I get that too.
Yeah.
And
Maybe we could. like,
And we can't
include
really
the
treat-
electric bill.
we can't treat a contractor and a homeowner differently. I'm sure Mrs. Corson
Right.
didn't realize that
Yeah,
a contractor would, but if she's doing her own
Yeah.
work. We'd have to give her a ticket just like we give someone else.
Oh, yeah.
So it just,
Totally.
Mhm.
But like maybe the zoning board can come up with a letter that is sent out every. March 1st or whatever, or the February electric bill that says, you know, building season's upon us, don't build. Before you,
That's true. We do have an app there. It gets
yeah.
a power bill.
if we let people know, you know, we know that you're anxious to
We
fix
can
that
also
for
see
you,
it,
whatever.
like Courtney can start posting that kind of stuff on social media, like in the spring.
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Do we have money in our budget to do renting to go?
I dare say we probably done this year. but-
But
But-
on Facebook, it's pretty.
That's one thing that. We've kind of. Tossed around and do some kind of social media with our office and the zoning board just to
Mhm.
come to the 21st century.
Well, yeah,
But how many people are gonna like the zoning board?
Right.
Right, like, I
I think it needs to be a tag.
Five
No,
of
but-
us, five of us, yeah.
will have 5 like.
Can you put it in for more money for next year? Do it. One time in.
I think I wish our
Everybody
realtors
gets an
tell
electric
people,
bill, right?
they sell a house, they have to, if they ever want to build and got all these permits and stuff, you gotta get.
Realtors disclose way too much.
No more she sheds.
Don't talk to me about realtors.
I'll make a motion to
no.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.